How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Long time no talk.
I know, Mr. Product Owner.
I know you inspired me to actually like you and Kunal, like between the two of you, you guys inspired me to actually ship something for once. So I owe you a lot of gratitude.
Always be shipping.
Yeah, I mean, he literally called me out the same way you did, where he was like, "You always tell me about all these great things you're building and you never ship anything. Like ship something by Sunday or we're not going to be friends anymore." And I was like, "Ouch."
Oh,
But no, I really do appreciate it. All right, so let me pull up Osprey. So you said you send out like 50,000 emails a month
yeah.
or 60,000, and you get about 10,000 visitors, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you running like paid advertising? Like, tell me about
hmm
your other traffic sources.
Yeah. So, Facebook ads, and I just started Google ads.
Oh, cool. Nice. And this is for the My Vision Assistant, correct?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, essentially. I mean, it's a variety of lead magnets and offers. And of course, it all leads back to that.
Gotcha. Yeah, so one of the cool things with Osprey, because you send a lot of emails, you're actually going to get a little bit of a bigger benefit. I'm just looking for the account that I can share. There we go. Because you send out so many emails, normally any third-party resolutions and enrichment provider is going to charge you for the traffic that you is going to charge you for the traffic that you send from those emails when those visitors land on your site.
Mhm.
And you also typically need to use tracking links. With Osprey, you don't need any of that. So you'll actually end up in the inbox faster. And you also don't pay for first party resolutions. So that's a little cool feature. Um, Essentially, how it works is like when a visitor lands on your site, they're anonymous typically. So you can see them in Google Analytics, you can see them in like Microsoft Clarity. Like you get all of this traffic to your site, but 98% of those people bounce. And I'm just going to move you down here so I can see you. There we go. Because 98% of those people bounce, you're losing a massive amount of revenue. And a lot of those people, and you'll notice this in like Google Analytics and other anonymized analytics platforms, will go to like your pricing page. They'll start clicking on stuff. They'll get all the way to the checkout. And you've seen it where they go through to the point where they put their credit card in. And then something happens, they get busy, or they bounce for any number of reasons. And a lot of platforms don't have abandoned cart recovery at that stage. Now, HighLevel did finally implement that, but a lot of vibe coded software, it's a little bit harder to do that, especially when you're using Stripe checkout pages and things like that. So with Osprey, you identify the visitor within the first like 10 seconds of them landing on your site, and those people get dropped into this people category. And so these are all people that have actively visited the Osprey, any one of the Legion Code properties. About 30 to 40% of people will resolve. And of the 30 to 40% of people, typically 70% of that's accurate. So you have to do a little bit of math to figure that out, but it equates to roughly like 25-ish to 28%. Um, but you don't pay for traffic that doesn't resolve. So that's a common misconception with how this works. Oh, I know this guy and this guy. Oh, awesome. Doc Fitzsimmons is visiting the site. That's actually really good. Um, so if a visitor is not identified, then you won't actually pay for that traffic because it goes through three different identity providers. And we have agreements with them that the only thing we pay for is when there's a match. And that's how they make their money and essentially how we make our money as well. Once that visitor matches, you do optionally have the ability to enrich them immediately, or you can enrich them on demand. That's entirely up to you. What I mean by enrichment is all of this data down here doesn't necessarily come directly with that profile data. A lot of times, all you're going to get from the non-enriched is who they are, a profile photo from their LinkedIn, where they're located. It's essentially all of this information right here. Now, this information is still really valuable from an ICP standpoint. So in the enrichment, you'll actually be able to, and I'll go ahead and start his enrichment process. In here, you actually get an ICP score and a lot of other information as well as part of the enrichment. What makes Osprey definitively different from everybody else, aside from our custom waterfall graphs on the identification and the enrichment side, is that we're actually tracking them from the moment they land on the site, that first millisecond, all the way to, if especially if you're in HighLevel or closed CRM or HubSpot, all the way to after they become a customer and what drove their sales actions, conversations, SMSs, AI conversations, emails, invoices, estimates. Literally everything gets fed into our AI. And then that all rolls up into a conversational understanding of what you need to do better and how to tailor your marketing to be better through behavioral insights. So, ironically, while we talk a lot about identification and enrichment, that's about 1/8 of our product. And
Not surprising.
we're pivoting more. Well, it's what people know. And so, if we talk about like the behavioral insights and the OSINT data and everything else, they get lost in the weeds immediately.
Hmm.
So, Sarah and I figured out that if we focused on the enrichment and identify, and even talking about enrichment, people get lost in the weeds. But if we focus on the visitor identification and we're, competitive market wise and things like that, and then we tell them, oh, by the way, and we actually show them how it works, then it's a lot stickier. But this is,
You know what I was like, literally why I contacted you was because I was looking in Claude and I was trying to figure out kind of what this is doing. Like when I get a lead, here's the original idea. When I get a lead, I want to be able to enrich that data, and then I want to have an automation in my HighLevel account where it will basically fill in custom fields. And I would like to do like filter. So imagine contact comes in, enrich the data, filter based off of a good lead or a bad lead for me, or or the offer that I would send to them, and then create like an AI spin essentially, where it would take all of their data and then position my like the offer that they qualify for to them so it's a no-brainer opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
so that's exactly what this does. Like to
Cool.
the T, everything you just described is precisely what this does.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm just gonna reach out to Mario because I bet
Yep.
he's already created this.
Yep. So it started as a solution to a problem, and it ended with me having way too much time on my hands and basically wrapping in like 50 different repositories from projects I'd shuttered,
Mhm.
for various things. And all of those coalesced into what Osprey is now. But this is so it gives you the ICP, and this is a tailorable metric. Our ICP data is kind of bare right now, so it's not giving very accurate numbers, but it does the actual scan on the company itself. It goes to their website, it crawls their entire website up to like 15 pages, I think. It crawls all the core pages. It crawls the GitHub repositories that they have, even the GitHub stuff. It crawls on like max creepy mode. It crawls everything. It's pretty. When I was joking about like what color underwear you wear in the post that I made on max creepy mode, it's pretty creepy. But anyways, it tells you about like talking points for that customer. It gives you company signals. So these are the different pages that resolved and what where they resolve from, so you can go and grab that. It also tells you the reconciliation across providers, which is really important. So we use three IDPRs, which are identity or IDRPs, identity resolution providers. And then we have about 20 enrichment providers plus a custom AI OSINT framework that I built based on like what I learned in the military. What that all equates to is what we call a waterfall graph. And so those three providers each have their own waterfall, and then we take and we stack like a waterfall all three providers together. And so you'll see here it says primary on a lot of this information. And then up here or over here, it says secondary. That means that it's validated against one provider. We didn't need to hit the second provider because we know that provider is accurate. If it has any questionable data, like if it finds something on the internet that doesn't match the resolution or the enrichment, it will flag that and say, hey, be careful sending this email because this data may not be accurate. You can also flag those if they aren't accurate, but anyways, it gives you all of that information about them. I know for a fact that this is accurate because I actually know this guy. And I've been trying to get his business for a while, so that's pretty cool. And those are actually his cell phone numbers. This is actually his cell phone number right here. What it does down here is this is a little bit more than Google Analytics. So with Google Analytics, you don't get as much like what I would say are marketing signals. And I've tried to distill all of the events down into marketing signals. So it also tells you like a quick highlight of what they did. So this was the first time he visited, went on a page view, was scrolling around, exit intent pop-up came up. He looked at it, was idle, he closed it. And you can expand these details as well in the next release that I'm doing. And then he left. And then on each one of these subsequent visits, we track those as like sessions essentially, and they're live too. So this data will actually populate as the customer is live visiting the site, which is a pretty unique thing that we do compared to everybody else. Um, we also look at and give a lot more data around how it works so that people like you and I who love visualizing stuff in general and really like getting in the weeds of like how can I fine tune this just a little bit more to squeeze that next dollar out. We have all that available. There's also an easy mode that you don't need any of this stuff. It just shoots it into high level and you don't need to see any of this. But I prefer to see all of this kind of stuff, which is why I demo it. It also will give you the companies. So these are more predominantly for foreign, like if you have a lot of UK or Australian traffic, we're legally not allowed to identify people directly from anywhere outside the US. Every other country aside from the US and Canada, I mean, and California, some places in Texas, and one other, Massachusetts, I think it is. Um, Everybody basically says you can't identify people, but there's a loophole where you can identify the company and then you just reverse enrich the company on LinkedIn and you pull all of their employees and pick the employee that you wanted to talk to because they're the most likely to visit your site anyways. So we get around that loophole that way, which also makes us a little bit different. But you can view the company details. This is an aggregate view of everybody that's visited from that company. So you'll see a lot more session data in here. One of the cool things that you'll see on this click, for example, is this is actually sometimes it pulls the real text, sometimes it will pull, and I'm fine tuning this more, but sometimes it pulls the CSS class or CSS attribute ID. But what this is it's telling you what they actually clicked on, and then it will also tell you the surrounding text of where they clicked. If within like, I think it's 60 pixels, there is text, it will grab all of that text so that the AI can understand what of that page triggered them to perform that action. Um, from there, we have this is where you can import your contacts from HighLevel. So what you would do is you'd go to your inbound connections, click on HighLevel, and just connect your OAuth app right here. Very simple. We are fine-tuning the import process from a UX UI standpoint. It's fully functional, but it's a little bit confusing because I am not a UX UI guy. I am an engineer at heart. But thankfully, I have some amazing customers that have been helping me take care of that. But anyways, what this does is it actually allows you to map your custom fields into the system as well. So you create the custom fields in HighLevel, and then when you hit the connect sub account, it will actually allow you to map those custom fields direct, and it'll give you a big old list of custom fields. So it allows you to map those custom fields to the enrichment data and all of the profile fields that you saw in that table. So as soon as those profile fields pop, it boop, shoots it back to HighLevel. That also includes what you'll see over here, which is the company profile. So this is part of the document generation system and like pre-meeting brief and things like that. So you have your company profile. This is personal to the user, your professional profile. So think of filling out LinkedIn or something like that. We are working on auto scraping this. But you fill out this, the company, the personal, and the products and services, and then it will actually take that and go through the templates and documents and generate a template or document and shoot it into HighLevel as an email or whatever you want as a draft for you to be able to review and send to that customer. So the moment that customer lands on your site, within 30 seconds, you've identified, enriched, and have an email in draft in HighLevel ready to send them.
Ready to send or automatically send?
Ready to
Could
send.
you
We don't automatically send because AI act a fool sometimes, and you
could
don't.
you could you set it up where you create a template with the custom fields, and then you could tag, like let's say that you pull your, let's say someone visits the website, that triggers to add a tag in HighLevel, which then triggers a workflow that's attached to that email template. So it's filling in the custom
Yeah, absolutely.
fields.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And then
Yep.
like you could at that point add your like, AI steps and if else
Yep.
conditional logic and all that. Because really, I know the API can update a template. So if we can just put the custom, that would even work for like subject lines and preview
Yep.
text
Yep.
to just have
100%.
it push the update. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yep. Totally. That does actively function at the moment. You would create those as custom fields,
Yeah.
and on creation of the contact, when the final enrichment fires, it would have generated that information, and then you actually set that up in
Well, you
he.
could actually do so tag, and then let's say that you have OpenAI, even though I hate OpenAI, but
Oh,
let's
here we
say
go.
that you
Awesome.
have that step. And then in the prompt that you give that step, it's like research all of these custom
Yep,
fields
yep,
and then do this.
yep. So what you would do is you'd actually just set an automation. And because I'm not logged in as my other one, I can't fully show you, but you just
Mhm.
set an automation to, after like 60 seconds, to fire that lead into HighLevel. Or if the lead's ICP score is a certain value, as you fine tune that, or if they have, like, let's say they go to your pricing page, for example, and they hit your pricing page twice, a really popular automation is pricing page multiple times, drop them an email with a discount code, because what that means is they have a high intent signal, but they're
Mhm.
struggling justifying the price. So
Mhm.
when you just drop them that email with the discount code, almost every single time they come back and buy.
Love it. That's a good strategy. So
Um,
what do you think, like, how are other people, or what do you envision other people doing just besides email? Like I know you mentioned
Cold calling,
Facebook.
it's really warm calling. It's not really cold calling.
Mhm.
Stalking people on LinkedIn, stalking people on Facebook, Instagram, because this it will often pull their Instagram stuff, commenting on their pull requests on GitHub, totally doable. Finding them on Reddit, totally doable. Um,
So I guess you could even, and I'm just working through the workflow and I'm thinking about like like using Claude to
yep.
utilize Claude Chrome to take your list and find all these people. And essentially, you could have it run a task
Yep.
every day. Like, so let's say 9 a.m. every day, all the new contacts that came through this workflow with this tag, go find them on social media. Because I guess if you're enriching, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking out
No, you're
loud.
fine.
So
Totally
I
fine.
guess if you're enriching the data, you already have their social media. So you wouldn't even have to research that. You would just
Nope.
find them.
You just put in there, you actually just click their URL. You would
Yeah.
just have Claude Chrome. It'll put the URL in a custom field. But let's say like I click on Josiah's profile, and if I go up to his LinkedIn and I click on his LinkedIn, if I was actually signed in on this profile, it would take me directly to his LinkedIn page. And what that means is
Oh, so you could have Claude Chrome just work from
it would just
here.
work from a spreadsheet. So what I would
Oh,
do
okay, I
is I
see.
would put it in, and if you want to do it on LinkedIn specifically, and even Facebook technically, I would actually use something called Meet Alfred. Meet Alfred is very popular. They're the OG of LinkedIn and Facebook automations, and one of the
Mhm.
only platforms that won't get you banned.
Mhm.
They're kind of like sort of approved by LinkedIn. LinkedIn ignores them because they're very respectful of rules. But even though it's against their terms of service. But anyways, you would just have the spreadsheet or the HighLevel workflow, whatever the API is, contain this LinkedIn URL, go directly to it and friend them on LinkedIn and like all their stuff and give them a review.
What'd you say the name of that was?
Meet Alfred,
Good.
like meet Batman's caretaker.
Well, I'll go down that rabbit hole later.
I love Meet Alfred. I've been using it for like 12 years.
I'm just
Um,
I'm trying to expand marketing past emails. I feel like,
yep.
I'm not going to say emails are dead, but it just certainly feels dead,
I
to
don't
be
check my
honest.
inbox. I have like 150,000 unread emails.
Yeah, and I just think everybody's doing that, just using AI to
Yep.
filter
I
their
just ignore it
emails. Yeah.
flat out. I have Little Bird check it for urgent things, and then every day, every 3 hours, I get a brief from Little Bird about any expired subscriptions, domains expiring, anything like that that I need to urgently know about, and everything else gets discarded or responded to by AI.
That's a good selling point if you talked about how emails are not being opened in the age of AI and how your tool can help that.
Absolutely.
Because I think I'm not the only one who, or we aren't the only ones experiencing that. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. Totally fine. So on top of that, you also have the ability to map forms specifically. So it will, the enrichment and capture process down here, the capture process down here will capture form submissions, but it only captures email and phone number and first and last name. But if you have custom fields in your form, due to things like some of those custom fields potentially containing credit card information or otherwise PII that we don't want in the system, you have to explicitly map additional fields in the form mapping process. We also have top leads, automations. These both perform different actions based on the quality of the traffic. And then you have your full first party analytics that's de-anonymized right here. So this is just like Google Analytics. It actually loads faster than Google Analytics at capacity, and we process over 1 million visitors a month in traffic, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for us mom and pop shop, it's pretty high. Um, it's very simple to install. All you have to do is copy and paste this. And, well, you have to add a domain and then copy and paste this, and that's it.
Do you have a way to connect Claude to this info?
We are deploying an MCP most likely Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. It depends on how much time I have this week and next to wrap up the API endpoints and a couple other integrations. But yes,
Yeah.
we will have a full MCP as well as full API endpoints public at no additional cost.
Yeah, that's going to be like a game changer
Yep.
because
Um, so you have your AI over here. This is my testing account, so these are all my tests, but the AI can actually perform actions for you. It's named Harley Q after my Harley Quinn, my little doggy. And it will help you with your setup. It'll walk you through all of those different pieces. And then once you're through your setup, it will actually allow you to communicate with the AI about the leads with your roll-up reporting, which you can find in your roll-up insights and everything like that. So you can pick like how your visitors interact, all sorts of stuff, what they do, different things like that. You can also chat with the full screen AI right here. It works just like ChatGPT and Claude. You get your sessions and everything else. All of that is also stored and vectorized in the system. So when you're searching for information, all of the data around your emails you sent your customer in HighLevel, the text messages, the proposals, the invoices, all of that stuff, which is why there's so many scopes requested when you integrate HighLevel. All of that stuff is actually being fed into the AI, and it is a do not train AI. So all of that's being fed into the AI. And then from there, the insights are generated on a periodic basis. And it will actually query back and say, like, I can correlate this sale to this number of emails or these emails in this sequence and the value they provided that customer. You should send more of these emails.
I love it. And because it's so funny because I'm literally working through all of this in Claude. And again, that's why I just reached out to you because I was like, I just, I honestly, all I knew was that you were like tracking website traffic. And I was like, I bet he's just built all the rest of this.
Well, I appreciate you reaching out.
I'm just gonna
Um,
ask Maria. I'm sure.
We do also support agency functions. So you
Mhm.
have a full agency capability. You can create your own plans. It does rebilling just like HighLevel. We actually modeled the rebilling off of HighLevel's rebilling system because it's pretty powerful. You can brand all of this. You can brand your emails, the portal, the whole kit and caboodle. You can see all of your customers, verify your domains, set up your email domains, all of that. You don't actually have to use a subdomain, which is one difference from HighLevel. The email provider that we use doesn't require you to use that subdomain. The only caveat is that the emails will not come back into Osprey when they respond, but that's actually a good thing because you're not having to manage your conversations in like five different places, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Yeah.
So, any
Yeah,
questions?
honestly, I don't think anybody would want it to come back in here
Correct.
because I think, honestly, Mario, you're the golden nugget for this is that MCP connection. Being able to, because it's like I'm pretty techie. I can build these things out, but your intelligence and all the things that you have on the back end, being able to connect that to another tool to integrate into your systems, for example, why are my ads not converting? How, like, who are my top leads? Like, all of that stuff, that's more valuable information than what HighLevel's providing.
I would agree. And that's exactly why I built it because there are so many companies that are paying through the nose for advertisements and stuff like
Hmm.
that that have zero idea who their visitors are.
Hmm.
And they don't know, like one of the things that happens is you'll pay through the nose for ads or something like that, and all of the traffic that comes to your site you'll realize is in the wrong region, wrong country, or the wrong demographic.
Hmm.
And what are you going to do at that point, right?
Hmm.
So this gives you that insight and visibility.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I appreciate you sitting through a
Yeah.
demo.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, super exciting. So I want to check it out and honestly, so can you answer this question though? What about like compliance? Do you have any issues like tracking with I mean, if you're running ads and you have this tracking code, do you have problems with like Meta and Google?
Nope, because we have a compliance management platform. So you would usually pay $20 to $50 per domain for a CMP. You get
Mhm.
unlimited domains and CMPs through our system for free. So the CMP is actually that little banner that pops up that says, "Do you agree to accept these cookies?"
Mhm.
And actually, a really funny thing that I'll show you really quick on our CMP configuration. Um, Down here, if you go to compliance and you go to consent banner, uh, you can pick all of these different things about what it does, how it works, things like that.
Mhm.
If you go to security,
And so this compliance is just for this tool, right?
nope,
So you
it works
couldn't
with
do like,
everything.
okay. Right.
Yep, it's compliant with Google's defined standard of CMPs.
Okay. So they just
But
click it once and then that triggers everything.
my favorite part is this. So you can actually set that anyone from specific countries or using VPNs, proxies, hosting, relays, things like that. Not only does it record it, but you can actually send them to a Rickroll video, or you can send them to the No Cookies for You site,
Mhm.
which is a really funny GIF of the Shrek uh, Cookie Man like spitting on the king, or the Rickroll video, which I also find hilarious. But you can do this for people that don't accept the cookies too,
Yeah.
because they're not good traffic if they don't accept your tracking cookies.
Hey, explain to me how the agency thing works.
So
Because here's
exactly
what,
like it does in HighLevel.
okay, well, here's what I'm thinking. I have basically structured the My Vision Assistant app so where I don't really have workflows. They just come in to the assistant and they click buttons to do things. Or they just chat with it. So I
Yep.
kind of have all of that stuff built in. Um, but I think that this is really cool. Of course, they all get sub accounts and things, but I think I'm just trying to brainstorm like if I wanted to like integrate something like so they could utilize it, essentially white labeling it.
Yep.
Um, what would that look like for them
I would issue
and
you
me?
a custom token, a custom set of tokens that would allow you to authenticate and provision sub accounts inside of Osprey.
Mhm.
And then by provisioning userless accounts inside of Osprey, you would be able to basically using those tokens get an API key and then connect that API key into my Vision Assistant. And then from my Vision Assistant sub account, you could use an MCP, an AI to control the MCP with Osprey, and all of the actual interface for Osprey would live in my Vision Assistant.
Okay. So the other layer to that is the user of the of my vision assistant is the high level agency, or they're a sub account in my account, but most of them are their own
Yep.
high level agency. And so each brand is connected to their own sub account. So what would that look like? My user is the agency, but what would that look like for the agency who's managing their client accounts?
They would have to go direct to Osprey, and we just give you a referral fee because
Okay.
we can't. It's really hard to go a third, like a black
Mhm.
label depth on a
Yeah.
platform like this because the amount of like risk that you incur from stepping on it that many times is
Mhm.
just it's a lot of work. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm cool with that. Just trying to see how I could utilize it. So maybe what I could do is include one like something. How are your plans for this? Like how are you like allocating like credits or what is
yeah,
your system for that?
so the current pricing tiers are um, we have a $1 trial with reduced cost enrichment and lead prices.
Mhm.
And this is to get people in the door. So far, we've had the majority of the users convert after the 30-day trial because they love the service. The only
Mhm.
exception is users that don't get any traffic. We
Mhm.
can't magically make up traffic for them to see leads.
Yeah.
So the majority of people do convert up to the $100 plan, and a lot of people have converted to the Pro Plus, which is
Mhm.
the $250 plan. What these give you is different tiers of insights and automations. When I was talking earlier about like kind of creepy versus super creepy, it goes kind of creepy, medium creepy, super creepy. And this is extra creepy sauce.
Have you thought
So
about adding something like Hunter in here so that it's like kind of tying it all in? So it's like you have all this data, and I know that they have to land somewhere to capture it, but you could also do the other side where you're seeking the data, then filtering the data, and then actually providing the leads.
that comes out next week. It's
Oh,
already built.
I'm not
Um,
surprised.
we have about, I think, 11 different providers that we're sourcing data from.
Uh-huh.
So what I did was I evaluated over 100 different providers of outbound lead generation. I
Hmm.
went to all of the sources of where they come from, and I evaluated everybody and ranked their top qualities by accuracy against a group of 100 people. And I picked and negotiated rates with each one of the providers so that we have the best pieces of each of the providers, just that specific slice. And then we can coalesce it all together and give you a lead package that way. So yes, it comes out next week.
I love it. That's awesome.
So inside of here, you'll have the find, identify, research, and execute. This is searching for the leads. This is looking at intent data. This is deep diving different markets and accounts. And then this is actually cold emailing people.
Cool. That's
So
cool.
we'll have the
Yeah.
full life cycle of everything to do with lead gen, and we connect to the ABMs, the advertising based marketing engines as well.
That's super cool about the cold emails, though, because nobody wants to use their high level account for cold emails. So if you could just set up like a burn
Yep,
email.
exactly what we did. We have Office 365, G Suite, and regular SMTP inboxes. And we partnered with a company called Maildoso. And so we buy in bulk from them. Now, it does take a while to warm up the emails and go through the process, but we actually have a system that I'm working on that actually does all of that. So you basically provision your cold emailing account as you start accruing leads. It's warming it up in the background. When it's ready, it starts automatically hammering out emails to people.
Mm, love it. I love it.
Thank
Man,
you.
I would like to sign up and like use it, see what I
Awesome.
think.
Thank you. Grab the dollar trial. That's what I'd recommend to start with. That's going to give you plenty of credits to kind of check out your traffic, check out all the different features and things like that. And then once you get, a little like a week into the trial, we'll hop back on, kind of review your data together and look through your insights and things like that. And then we can talk about what the different features are. But here's a full comp list of everything that they offer. The free tier is just the CMP, so that's just the consent management platform, but which is not, it is useful, but being deprecated as a plan. But these are all the different features that they all offer. So I would take a look through these as well.
All right, cool. Check it out.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you. I'm gonna go get some dinner. Do you mind if I share this recording?
Of course not.
Cool. I appreciate you.
As long as you don't share my husband with his no shirt on, if you saw that.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't. I was looking. I was trying to share my screen. I actually had, so really quick funny story. I was doing a interview at Extendly, and it was for a young lady in the Philippines for the tech support team. And we're in the middle of this interview, and all of a sudden I see a man naked in the background, just walking across the screen slowly, picking things up, and like just la di da di da in the background. Apparently, he didn't realize she was on Zoom. Well, in the middle of her talking, she notices my eye movements looks, I'm assuming, at the camera that or the view that shows her, smashes the spacebar to mute it, screams at him, and immediately unmutes it and continues talking like nothing happened. I hired her on the spot because I was like, anybody that can handle something like that in an interview and not just completely fumble is absolutely worth hiring. So,
So true. So true.
but
Yeah, well, he just didn't realize he was like, "Oh,
no,
my
it's all
day's
good.
over." So
Of course. No, I appreciate
he's
you
out
hopping on
working
here
in the
for sure.
yard and then comes in like, "Hey," and I'm like, "I'm in a meeting."
No, it's all good. Oh, awesome. Well, I'm gonna run grab dinner, but I appreciate you so much, and we'll see you here soon.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Bridget.